Hey everybody, welcome back to Gem Men Collectibles. This was a request that I could no longer ignore. This is every Marvel Cosmic Omnibus released ever. Now when I talk about the Marvel Cosmic Saga, I'm talking about the Annihilation, Realm of Kings, War of Kings storyline. However, you can't really do a Marvel Cosmic video without talking about Infinity Gauntlet. So, let's talk about Infinity Gauntlet first. This was Marvel's answer to DC's Crisis on Infinite Earths. I think at the time when they were promoting this, they even had some kind of catchphrase like some kind of infinity invent without a crisis or some kind of jab. George Perez cover of Infinity Gauntlet #1 for the cover of the Omnibus. There goes your dust jacket. It's early, yo. And here goes the cover gallery. So let's talk about what's included in the Infinity Gauntlet Omnibus, which is a little bit of a whale now. But you get some awesome 90s Silver Surfer, which, is 90s stuff. The run started in 87. But you get Silver Surfer 34 through 38, 40, and 44 through 60. That's the first appearance of the Infinity Gauntlet, issue 44. And it's the Thanos Return storyline. So Thanos has been gone ever since the Bronze Age. Then you get Thanos Quest 1 through 2, where he hunts down the stones, which is probably something like we'll see in Infinity War. You get Infinity Gauntlet 1 through 6, the main storyline. Cloak and Dagger 18. This is all Aftermath stuff. Spider-Man 17 from the McFarlane 90s run. Incredible Hulk 383 through 385. Quasar 26 and 27, Sleepwalker 7, Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme 34 through 36, and some material from 31 through 33. Everything after the main story is Aftermath stuff, which is okay, but I really like the prelude stuff, the Silver Surfer stuff, Thanos Quest, and the main storyline. So you get the Virgin cover for the front of the hardcover. Spine is the same. And then you get this back. I'm pretty sure this is also Starlin, a later on piece. I could be wrong. Yeah, I think it is. Anyway, the 90s Silver Surfer stuff is dope. I used to have all this in single issues. And yeah, you gotta love that. Thanos on throne, baby. I could probably flip through every page of this book and find good panels. Some dope stuff, man. This was one of the first omnibus I ever bought, and it's definitely the first one that I read cover to cover. I'm telling you, I could just show every page of this. Here goes some Mephisto. I wonder if we'll see him in one of the Infinity War, Infinity Gauntlet movies. I mean, if we have Death, I don't know how they're going to do Death yet. I thought it would have been a good opportunity to do Hela as Thanos' love interest, as the god of death. And I guess they still could. Some dope stuff right here. George Perez, 100 characters on this page. Thanos getting down with the sickness. So you don't really have to know this storyline to get into the modern Marvel Cosmic Saga, but I think it's good to know the backstory of characters like Thanos, and that's probably the only really main thing that you need to know. Because Drax is not really this. Yeah, it kind of helps to know some of the Drax, original Drax storyline, how he was just engineered and designed to kill Thanos. That's like his whole purpose for living. Yo, Sleepwalker, I thought was the shit back in the 90s. Anyway, I have some other honorable mentions for this video, but I'll talk about why I didn't include them toward the end. Like I said, this was really to highlight the Marvel Cosmic Saga. We're going to start with the Annihilation Omnibus. This is a whale of a book, highly sought after, always requested in the forums or on the Facebook group. What's funny about Annihilation, if you would ask me, hey, do you want to read a huge story about Nova? And there's also some Guardians of the Galaxy and some Quasar stuff, I'd be like, hell no. But it's funny because Nova is badass in this book. So, I don't think it's going to be too spoilerly, but the plot basically is a nihilist wants to expand his realm, the negative zone, and take over our universe. Also, again, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but basically the Nova Corps gets destroyed, pretty sure by the Annihilation Wave is what they call Annihilation's swarm of insect-like army. So all of the Nova Corps gets destroyed, and the World Mind downloads basically all of the Nova power and history, all the Nova Corps power, into the Richard Rider Nova. And he's like a supernova, Nova Prime. There's also some cool stuff with Super Skrull. I always thought Super Skrull was a dope character, and I always wanted his first appearance, but I never ended up getting it. I almost bought a raw one time, but I think it was restored, so I was like, fuck that. Gamora is very different. Ronan the Accuser is much more fleshed out in this storyline. This is some dope art of Annihilation 1. So that's pretty much how it starts out, but then it turns into from one big threat to another. Kind of, comics. Here's some Thanos, low-key Thanos, like we saw in the trailer for Infinity War. Here goes Drax versus Thanos. Drax them sclounce. Hit me in the comments if you know where that's from. Yeah, so that's Annihilation, the main story. And then it continues with Annihilation Conquest, which oddly enough has always been a very inexpensive omnibus, and it has some Ultron in there, but not much from what I remember. The cover I think was a little misleading. Oh shit. Pause. Annihilation omnibus covers: Drax the Destroyer 1 through 4, dope miniseries. Annihilation Prologue, Annihilation Nova 1 through 4. Annihilation Silver Surfer 1 through 4, Annihilation Super Skrull 1 through 4, who becomes super important later on, Annihilation Ronin 1 through 4, Annihilation 1 through 6, Annihilation Heralds of Galactus 1 through 2, and Annihilation Nova Corps File. What's also cool about these books is towards the end, it has like this whole database of all the characters and everything. So that was cool stuff. Anyway, on to Annihilation Conquest. You gotta love that Ultron on throne, though. Guardians of the Galaxy on the back and on the spine. Conquest collects Nova 1 through 2 in Annual 1, which I love the Nova stories in here. They're dope. This guy's battling with all his power. The world mind is in his head, kind of like a Jarvis kind of a thing. Nova is constantly not doing what the world mind recommends to do, tactfully based on common sense and shit. But he's kind of like a Poe from Star Wars: The Last Jedi, right? Like he's just gonna go against the odds and do the crazy heroic thing. It also collects Annihilation Conquest Prologue 1, Annihilation Conquest Star-Lord 1 through 4, Quasar 1 through 4, Wraith 1 through 4, and Conquest 1 through 6, and also Annihilation Saga. So, I don't know if this has... No, this one doesn't have the first appearance of the Guardians that we know. I think that does come up in the War of Kings stuff, so we'll talk about it there. Well, they're definitely introduced in this book. So let's look at some art from Conquest. So forgive me now for my pacing because I read these back to back and I kind of forget what book has what story. Yeah, but Gamora and Nova got a thing going on. That's pretty interesting. I mean, the plot that I gave you is basically like the whole thing, but Rocket Raccoon, except for War of Kings, because then we start bringing some Inhumans into the mix. So yeah, again, if you would have asked me in the '90s, you want to read a huge ass storyline with Nova, Quasar, the Inhumans, Guardians of the Galaxy? Pff, fuck no. Give me some X-Men and Spider-Man. But nah, this is definitely a dope run. I believe, you know, Annihilation, even though it's a whale of a book, you can get the trade paperbacks. You can get it on like digital for like very cheap. You don't have to go drop $300 on the omnibus. So we got some Cosmo. Cosmo's in this book a lot. His dialogue's hard to read because he's like he's got like a Russian accent, right? So everything's like with a K at the end. Fine, just be making sure Cosmo not have. I don't know. It was kind of hard to read, but it was still good. Like I said, you know, it's a very Nova heavy story, which is good. I mean, it was cool for me to read a lot about a character that I didn't really read that much of. Funny enough, I read all the is it Sam Alexander Nova stuff from the Marvel Now, and I like that. It reminded me of like Spider-Man, like this young kid that gets these crazy powers and has to deal with them, but still got to be back in time for supper type of shit. All right, then we get into Annihilation leads to the War of Kings. This is the War of Kings prologue. Here's the front with Medusa and Black Bolt. The spine controversy here on how they all didn't match. And here's the back, which has the Guardians of the Galaxy #1 of the new team book, I believe. This collects Son of M 1 through 6, which was a cool like House of M aftermath, I believe. X-Men Deadly Genesis 1 through 6. So this was crazy. This was when they introduced a third Summers brother. And I thought it was kind of weird, but it was a cool X-Men story. Then you got Silent War 1 through 6, Secret Invasion, Inhumans 1 through 4, Guardians of the Galaxy from the 2008 series 1 through 12, and Nova 13 through 22, which I believe picks up, right after these Nova issues. So that's what kind of ties it all in together. Also has Nova, the origin of Richard Rider, and the War of Kings saga. So that Richard Rider, I think it was Nova #1 from the 70s. You got a wraparound cover here. Hold on, Rocks. Alright, so so the Inhumans and the X-Men story, I believe, has to do with, Quicksilver was married or has a kid with Crystal from the Inhumans. My dog's crying. Here's a cool panel. Is this the wraparound cover? No. Alright. Here's some cool Super Scroll stuff. So the thing is, there's 4 Guardians of the Galaxy omnibus. I didn't include them in here, but one of those omnibus is covered, I think in its entirety, in the War of Kings storyline. So it really double dips, which is an unfortunate thing. Can we get some more love on this cover and on this panel? Sick shit. You gotta love Silver Surfer. We got some more Nova, Super Scroll. So I guess this all sets up a war between Inhumans. I gotta flip through to see. I don't remember. Oh, they have a lot of story with this Moon Dragon, and then the female Quasar. All right, so this was the road to the War of Kings, which was the War of Kings prelude or prelude. I don't know how to say this shit. Now then, this is the straight up War of Kings Omnibus. I thought it was an odd cover choice and odd font, but it is what it is. This collects Uncanny X-Men 475 through 486, X-Men Emperor Volcon 1 through 5, that's right. Secret Invasion War of Kings, X-Men Kingbreaker 1 through 4, War of Kings Darkhawk 1 through 2. So they do Darkhawk some justice, bringing him back from the 90s, giving him a cool backstory and whole origin of the Darkhawk species. War of Kings Warriors 1 through 2, War of Kings 1 through 6, main storyline. War of Kings Ascension 1 through 4, Savage World of Sakaar, Nova 23 through 28, Guardians of the Galaxy 13 through 19, and War of Kings Who Will Rule Marvel Spotlight, War of Kings, and material from X-Men Divided We Stand 2. So you get a big chunk of the Nova series, and you get, like I said, that whole Guardians. I guess it's Guardians by, I can't read from here, Abnett? I'll tell you right now. Or, maybe I won't. Let me see the Guardian stuff. Yeah, Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning. So that whole omnibus, if you buy that and these, you double dipped, like me. But I knew I was going to double dip. I'm a reader, but I'm a collector. So I can't have 3 Guardians omnibus knowing there's a 4th one out there and not get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, who does that? Anyway, I'll probably do a video of all the Guardians of the Galaxy omnibus. I mean, you got 4 Omnis. It's worth giving a video for. What is this? This girl Crystal from the Inhumans with the... Is this like a Shi'ar guy? I forget what that storyline was about. So, War of Kings. Yeah, Vulcan. And I don't know if this is a spoiler, so forgive me. Even if it was, it's still worth reading. The third Summers brother starts a fucking shitstorm and builds up an army. And he goes at the Inhumans. I hated that character too, man. Vulcan. He was like the Joffrey of the fucking X-Men universe. Fuck that guy, man. Yeah, so that Deadly Genesis, is that what it was called? Or Second Genesis, plays right after like the giant-sized X-Men book, where basically that new X-Men team was sent in to save the original X-Men team. Well, in this storyline, there was a third team to try to, back up that second team, right? And Vulcan was part of that, and he got stranded or some shit like that. Okay, here's the cool Darkhawk cover. So Darkhawk, man, again, you want to read a story about Darkhawk? Man, not really. Trust me, they do him justice. So, here goes some more Darkhawk. Art is crazy dope on that Darkhawk book. So somewhere along the line, Thanos and Galactus get involved. Or Galactus might have been at the end of Annihilation. I don't remember. Somewhere along the line they get involved. So here's the Guardians with the Inhumans. Cool stuff. Black Bolt's got some epic scenes in here, man. Like, they really save his power, you know what I mean? And when they finally let him use it, it's pretty impactful. Alright, cool. So that's the War of Kings Omnibus. Then we have the Aftermath, which is Realm of Kings. People didn't like this hulking Thanos cover, but I liked it. Let me get a little coffee break here. I like the Thanos cover. I thought it was better than the other War of Kings stuff. Spine matches the prelude. Here's the back. More Guardians. Well, actually, no. Yeah, what was that? That was some kind of team. Anyway, the Aftermath collects Realm of Kings 1, Realm of Kings Inhumans 1 through 5, Imperial Guard 1 through 5, Son of Hulk 1 through 4, which I wasn't really a fan of. Nova 29 through 36, Guardians 20 through 25, Thanos Imperative 1 through 6, Ignition and Devastation, Annihilators 1 through 4, Annihilators Earthfall 1 through 4, Thanos Source Book, and material from I Am Avengers 3. So basically in all these books, you get Nova 1 through 36, you get Guardians of the Galaxy 1 through 25, and all these little mini-series and event series, right? Because you get Annihilation 1 through 6, Conquest 1 through 6, War of Kings 1 through 6. Wraparound cover again in the back. Do you guys prefer the wraparound covers? Do you like that traditional black leather stuff? I like both. I think it depends. I think for an event book like this, you gotta go wraparound. But for like a classic Silver Age run, it's classy to have it all black, right? Like how the spines are all black too with that same font. Medusa's pretty badass in this, but forgive me if I'm wrong. She cheats on Black Bolt with his brother Max. Is it Maximilian or some shit like that? Maximus? And Maximus takes over. I was a little pissed off at Medusa for that, even though I think she was seduced or whatever. Is that this storyline? I think so. I don't think I really read much other Inhuman shit. Darkhawk back in the mix. Here goes a good way to look at the wraparound. Mr. Fantastic. So that's another one. I didn't include the Jonathan Hickman Fantastic Four run because I don't know if that's cosmic or not. I'm halfway through reading Jonathan Hickman's Secret Warriors, which I love. It's a dope book. And then I'm going to read the 2 Fantastic Four volumes after that. Then I believe it's Avengers. And then I think that leads into Infinity, which I have the Infinity oversized hardcover and the companion. But they're not omnibus, so I didn't include those either. Damn, that's a dope panel. Thanos. I don't know. I felt like this book was a different kind of Thanos, man. He wasn't like the Infinity Gauntlet Thanos. All right, there goes Galactus jumping in the mix. So Galactus, so he doesn't really interfere, right? Because Galactus is a force of nature. He doesn't care what happens to people. He's like a star or a planet or whatever. But I think when Annihilus starts fucking with expanding the negative zone, Galactus, for his survival, has to jump in. Better Ray Bill, Ronin, Silver Surfer. Another interesting fact I read about Galactus is that he only looks human to humans. That's how they perceive him. But if he invades the Kree homeworld, he looks like a Kree to them. This is the panel they use for the wraparound cover. Got some Rocket and Groot. Anyway, that's going to conclude my every Marvel Cosmic Omnibus ever. You know, considering I'm only talking about this storyline. Let me know what you guys thought. Have you read these storylines? Did you like them? Did I make you want to go buy expensive whales? I hope not. But if you got it, hey, it ain't tricking if you got it, right? Oh shit, this is fucking causing some heat. Anyway, Daredevil's every Daredevil omnibus is coming up. Thor's coming up. Wolverine's coming up. Gonna do Superman. Let me know what else you guys want to see. Any other requests? I'll do the IDW. I'll do the Vertigo stuff. You know, we'll eventually get to all of it. But let me know what you thought. Did I leave anything out that I should have included? Did I leave out any key parts or points I should have made? Let me know, man. I always enjoy the feedback. You guys know I incorporate it every time. So appreciate you guys watching. I'll catch you next time on Gem Mint Collectibles. Peace.